Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. I hope you're all doing well on this incredibly rainy Monday afternoon. Well, it is raining in England, unsurprisingly. So, I've got another Phyzik Let's Talk for you today. If you enjoy the video, please do leave it a like and subscribe if you want to help support me and my channel. If you want to check down below, there are the timestamps for each section of the video. So without further ado, let's roll that intro. So the first story is about this group of pranksters called Trollstation. Don't know if you remember, this was a big story a while back, but they got arrested after doing a stupid, horrible, terrible prank, and rightly so. But they've now put out a message claiming that they really regret it and they think they made a terrible choice, and I completely agree. Next up we have a new video from Onision where he is looking at his ex-patrons, and I've done a video on a similar subject before, so I thought it'd be interesting to see if he's changed at all. Next I'll be talking about indie game developers and how they're getting a lot more attention now than ever, and finally I have some little bits of information. So without further ado, let's begin this video. So first I'm going to be talking about this ridiculous prank from Trollstation. So for those of you that don't know, Trollstation was a huge YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers. So Daniel Jarvis is a 27-year-old and has recently been on an interview with BBC Radio 5, and he's now given a statement explaining how he feels about the matter now. I must say, he does look like he could be a distant relative of Mance Raider. But anyway, for those of you that don't know, they carried out this prank where they set off an alarm in an art gallery and carried with them these fake paintings wearing masks and all the rest of it, pretending like they were robbing the place. I know, a great idea. What could have possibly gone wrong? Absolutely nothing oh wait, yeah, they were all arrested for 72 weeks after pleading guilty of threatening behaviour causing fear and unlawful violence. Rightly so. Rightly so. If only that had been a huge message that would have stopped a lot of these other pranksters doing stupid things. Terrible decision. Terrible decision. What made this worse, this was just 1 week after the Tunisian beach massacre where over 30 people were killed. It's just terrible timing. Well, it's not just terrible timing, it was a bad decision in every single way. So as they were performing this prank, going into this art gallery, carrying paintings and all the rest of it, obviously there were huge crowds of people that were really scared, really frightened by this, and you can see in the video a huge stampede was caused. And apparently one person even fainted from how much panic was caused by this. I mean, this is so insensitive. Consider the fact this is an art gallery. You're obviously going to get much older people visiting this gallery. Elderly people, you would have had children, you would have had parents scared, frightened for their kids, thinking that robbers are here, possibly going to harm them. It's just horrible. So Daniel Jarvis was in an interview with Stephen Nolan on BBC Radio 5, and he said, "We were going to go in there and be stupid, dumb criminals falling over each other. When the alarm was so loud it caused too much panic, which was our fault. I can't change the past. I don't like hurting people or making people upset. I do these videos to make people laugh and make people happy." I mean, you've got to be really stupid to not see how badly this could go and how much danger you're putting people in. It's just terribly irresponsible, but hopefully they're regretful, hopefully they feel true remorse and wouldn't plan on doing something like this again. Now, I do quickly want to show you what kind of videos they're making nowadays, because it's not as like harmful, but it's still so stupid. So this latest one was at Notting Hill Carnival, and it is titled "Daggering Female Police Officers at Notting Hill." When I first heard that, I thought, they meant like knifing people, but no, instead it's just stupid. Check this out.
Right now we're there at Notting Hill Carnival. Enough pretty girl they about, enough sexy one they about, but none of the girl them want to wine, none of the officer them want to wine, all of the police officers them are cop.
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I was thinking too.
McClatch, you want to have a dance now? You want to have a dance? Carnival, carnival. Remember that carnival? That carnival. That can't see what I said. None of them want to dance. Carnival. That carnival.
Now, as much as I have a lot of massive problems with the police, in this case, they're only there to kind of help everyone to be safe. Like, the police do actually do useful things, and in this situation they are being helpful, so doing that is just unnecessary, disrespectful, bit of an idiot. Just that's kind of just an example of what these guys are like. Buffoons. Now, let's move on. Let's now take a look at one of Onision's latest videos titled Former Fans That Now Hate Onision, and by the look of his dislike ratio, people aren't too happy with this one.
So I have a Patreon and sometimes I lose patrons. What's interesting is that the site offers you the opportunity to see why people bailed on you. And today, I'm going to tell you guys some of those reasons. I stopped watching your videos at some point about 3 months back. Now it's about time I deleted my pledge. All right, doctor, give it to me straight. How much did I lose? It's okay. One of the people on YouTube will no doubt compensate for this unbearable loss. So I thank you new patrons for helping heal the damage done.
So much like last time, he's openly mocking people that actually fund his YouTube channel, and if they've stopped watching, so what? That was a absolutely reasonable comment. There's no need to mock them. I know you're doing a kind of comedy thing, but it's just rude, it's just insensitive, as per usual from you.
It was really great while it lasted, but I can't keep pledging. Yes, that's how sometimes people I make love to respond with being conscious. Wait. I can't deal with some of the other people who pledge who think they're better because they can afford more. Ugh, cringy. Listen up, high-paying patrons. Just because you're a full-blood wizard and the other ones are mudbloods doesn't make you better. Because we all know who the real enemies are. The people who aren't part of the magical world at all. That's right. The humans. We must end them all. Here's someone who just outright said he's a bad person. Thanks for the $2? I mean, do you normally shell out money to people you think are bad people? Bad people. I really, really loved you and what you did, but I'm not going to be emotionally blackmailed into paying even more money for basic content. And I know whatever I say, you're still gonna brush me off like I'm worthless to you unless I pay. To all my $1 and $5, etc. patrons, have I ever made you feel worthless because you only give a certain amount? Last time I checked, I practically you guys.
The fact of the matter is, these patrons that fund your career, your whole career, now have to pay for your YouTube channel as well. That is so unfair.
Then they end it with, wish the best to you and Lainey. So diss me, saying I'm an emotional blackmailer, and follow that with, wish you the best, buddy. Listen, you're a manipulative, emotional abuser. Have a great day! If you want me to have a great day, say nice things to me.
I'm not exactly surprised that you are baffled at the idea of respect, but this person was clearly a big fan of yours and no longer likes the person that you've become, but would still like you to have a good future. Is that such an issue? Is that concept so confusing?
This is like one of the saddest stories ever. They were a $1 patron. They lost their job due to an illness. They have 3 children. They're a single parent, and they probably shouldn't have been a patron of mine in the first place because they should always take care of themselves and their children first.
If Onision treated everyone with this level of respect, then I don't think there would be an issue. It is interesting seeing the comparison between this video and the previous video where he talked about his ex-patrons. He seems to be a bit more forgiving in this one, a bit more sensitive, and that's good.
You see, Patreon is a community where people get early access to videos and tons of other content, just like iTunes or Hulu or whatever. You pay for a service and you get something back, but if you can't afford that service, you should not partake.
Yeah, go on, come and be a patron of mine. I'm only gonna bash you in front of thousands of people if you ever decide to leave.
I found him to be quite hostile. I have no idea what you're talking about.
See, that's a good example of how he seems to have changed a bit. Back in the past, he probably would have ripped into them for a few minutes.
Meanwhile, this person says that they joined the Discord and there was just a bunch of fighting back and forth. That's how family is, you guys. Families sometimes fight. But what's important is that most everyone there cares about each other and means well.
How do you know that? How do you know what he's talking about? That could have been a really bang out of order, completely unnecessary argument, and you shouldn't just shrug it off as, well, we're just family. That's not a good advertisement for your Discord. If there are people aggressively arguing and this is a service people pay for, then you need to do something about it. Jeez.
Greg in general just isn't a great person, and I was doxxed for telling him this in an email and lowering my much larger initial pledge. I would just like to take this opportunity to recommend anyone dox my emails that I send to them if I say something that is out of line, because people who say things that are out of line via email should probably be doxxed, as why help people get away with saying horrible things to other people? It doesn't make sense. Case in point, if someone sent you an email saying a bunch of transphobic things to you, almost no one would blame you for doxing that individual because of the context.
Wait, what? What are you saying? You're literally just saying, yes, I did that, and you should dox me for doing it. What fucking logic is that? No, that makes no sense. Not at all. You shouldn't recommend someone dox yourself after you say something stupid. How about not saying it in the first place? How about, and I don't even have to think about this for a moment to know that this story is 100% true. Of course Onision would dox this individual if he changed the amount of money he was giving them, because he was so rude about people changing their pledges. In the past video, it wasn't just people that were saying bad things. Even if they were just removing their pledge, he would have a go at them. It's so out of order. These people fund your career, I know I've said that already, so it is bang out of order when you do something like that. Now, let's move on from this before I get a brain aneurysm. Moving on now to the wonderful world of gaming. I'm going to be talking a little bit on how indie developers are now getting the limelight finally, which is what I've been hoping would happen for a very long time now. It seems like a lot of AAA developers put a ton of money into games that often won't do that well, thus losing money or not making much. With these small indie companies that make games like Rocket League and Goat Simulator, and games that I've played as well like Layers of Fear, Outlast or Little Nightmares, to name a small amount of these wonderful games. But it seems with AAA titles, developers will often try and play things safe, which may end up in a game not being that different, not being that creative, not being that unique. And with games like, don't know if any of you have seen my recent playthrough of Observer, that is just a small example of the incredible, creative and wonderful ideas that these small indie developers can come up with, and that is honestly just a small example. Down in the description you can see a couple of links to playthroughs of indie games that I find incredible. Layers of Fear being one of those that are way up the top, because that was from a small developer, but that game for me was just so groundbreaking. For people to even compare it to PT, which is made by one of the biggest horror developers of our time, Layers of Fear, to be compared to that is just amazing. I actually don't think they're that similar in any way, really. I think Layers of Fear I think Layers of Fear was rather different, and I absolutely loved it because of that. So I'm just this really pleases me. It really does, because I've been wanting for a long time now for indie developers to get more of the limelight. Back a fair few years back when I had an Xbox 360, so that must have been a fair while ago now, I started playing a few indie games, small things like Bastion, and back then I never really thought of indie games. I never really thought of finding such gems as Observer or Little Nightmares or something like that. But now, I will usually go and look for indie games over AAA titles. Just look at Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I've recently started my playthrough of that as well, and that might be the best looking game I have ever seen. And I was so shocked to find out that that was from a small indie developer as well. It's just wonderful, it really is. That's all I've really got to say on the matter. Hopefully over the next few years we're going to see big changes in the indie scene, and hopefully we'll start, but I hope it doesn't change though, because the thing that makes indie developers so good is the creativity, the imagination that gets put into these games, and for that to change would be really horrible. So finally, I just want to say thank you so much for this 1,000 subs. I am just over the moon, I really am, and hopefully you guys can be there with me to watch this channel grow into something special. Who knows? I can only do it with your help though, that's one thing I do know. So I'm going to be doing a 1,000 subscriber special. I'm going to try and make it as interesting as possible. My 666 sub special wasn't really a proper special, it was just a couple of videos focused around horror themes and that kind of thing. So I'm pretty much done with moving house now. I know I've been saying that for weeks, but it is a long process, so things will be up and running properly throughout the rest of this week. I'm going to have some Phyzik talks, I'm going to have my weekly window on Friday, I'm also going to have the next part of Observer coming out possibly tomorrow night, the next part of my White Day playthrough, and Silent Hill Alchemilla. All of that right here on this damn fucking channel. Fuck yeah! If you enjoyed the video, please do leave it a like and subscribe if you want to help support this bitch over here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.